As entrepreneurs, we have to reinvent ourselves all the time. The market forces out there are telling us that we need to do it. Well, I've got a two for today. I've got a phenomenal fellow entrepreneur, Joe Foley, and Joe is going to share with us how he reinvented his business over the last 30 years with his partners several times. And more importantly, I think, even though that's real important, he's going to share with us some of the secrets of the most successful marketing people and how he's helping them be extremely successful. Stay tuned. I'm John Bowen. We are at aesnation.com.
Ordinary success? No way. You want amazing, remarkable, exceptional breakthroughs. Dig deep, think bold, drive hard, watch yourself soar beyond your dreams. AESNation.com.
Joe, I am so excited to have you here on our podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm excited to be here too.
Well, and I feel like, I'm sharing a big secret and get myself in trouble. But, I want to, with our fellow podcast viewers or listeners at AES Nation, Joe is my go-to guy in really, anything where it's not electronic in marketing. And we'll tell you what that means, but he's not only my go-to guy, it's about every major marketing guru is working with Joe. And Joe is where we met. I think first time we met Joe, wasn't it Joe Polish's Genius Network Mastermind group?
Right, a few years ago.
Yeah, we've been in there. How long have you been in Joe's group?
I'm 3 years now, going on my fourth.
Okay, so I was ahead of you just a little bit. The only thing I've been ahead of you on here, I think 1 year ahead of you. And it's a great group of top marketing people. We call it 25K as the other words because Joe makes us pay $25,000 to hang out with him. But the networking opportunities, the lessons learned have been great. And one of the big values is you learn different connections of where to get things done. And Joe is my go-to guy on so many things. But Joe, we're going to go into and talking about how you have reinvented yourself and the evolution. Before we go into kind of what you're doing now for all of these marketing professionals, why don't you take us to kind of how did you become the successful entrepreneur and reinvent yourself with your partners?
Okay, well, it started a long time ago. Before the internet, there were these things called diskettes, and they came in the 5 1/4 inch. And all the computer nerds used to take a box of those and put them on their desk. It was kind of like a status symbol, what they're working on.
Wait a minute. I remember having a couple boxes. I must have been a real geek here as a financial guy, but go ahead.
Yeah, so we all we did in the beginning was print company names on there, like big corporations, Motorola, and we'd say proprietary information. And then our customers would call up and say, could you duplicate this program for me? And we're like, no, we don't know. We don't do that. We just print on them. And then somebody called up and said, hey, do you want to buy a machine that duplicates diskettes? And we go, hell yes, we do. And then we ended up, getting 200 of them. So we learned little by little. And then
not 200 cassettes, but 200 machines.
Yeah, 200 machines.
Okay, so I want everybody to stop for a second because, some watching this are manufacturers and widgets. You're going to feel a lot of empathy with Joe if you've been in the business a long time. Some of us are more on the professional services or the information marketing that we don't have the big capital expenditures. And, all of a sudden you got 200 machines, you're cranking business is great. And I'm kind of guessing that's not a big part of your business right now.
Nope, we have one machine that's in the museum, but that's it. We kept them going as long as we could. We try to be the last man standing, And we were duplicating diskettes after the manufacturers of the equipment were long gone and out of business. And then, of course, we went right into doing computer software fulfillment. We started printing big user guides, remember those, and getting started manuals. And then all of a sudden, computer software started getting downloaded on the internet. So luckily we learned how to do all this printing of books, so we were able to right away move over to the corporate clients and start doing a lot of their training programs, for either in-house training or for their clients.
I mean, I'm thinking this is over. So, this is over about 20 years right now that we just went, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, the computer software went from the diskette started in '84. Then we started duplicating computer software maybe around 1990, right around the time where Windows came out.
Mm-hmm.
There was Windows 3.0 and 3.1, and we had this cool customer called Install Shield Corporation. So every time somebody updated their software, you had to get a new Install Shield program. So we would get a reorder. Every customer we had would reorder every time Windows made a move. So if Windows went to 3.12, every one of our customers had to update their software. So those were the glory years. Yeah.
That's when you were cheering Bill Gates for, just doing
make changes. And then things started to drift over to the CDs and CDs. And we had the cool situation where EMI, one of the biggest music companies, had a plant in Illinois. And we became their only customer outside of, big record labels. So we managed to get incredible service and great deals. And now, of course, we do all the manufacturing and stuff ourselves because all those big record companies and their CD plants are long gone. But now we make the CDs and DVDs in-house. And believe it or not, even with all this digital stuff out there, we're still making more CDs and DVDs, here in 2014 than we did last year.
It is, it's amazing. And one of the things that is just so powerful in marketing, and Joe, I want you to kind of comment to it because you've been working with the marketplace. I mean, it's been giving you strong messages along the way.
Right.
But one of the things that, as someone, my primary business, I have two businesses, coaching financial advisors, and then also working with entrepreneurs on the financial side. And what we see is, all the technology that's gone on, Joe, that, like you and I, we're talking over Skype. It's for free. And we've got, I'm using, probably a pretty sophisticated podcast platform and switching operation, which is maybe 3,000 at most. And, so a lot of things have moved digital, but you've been one of the guys reminding me, and I know, I value your counsel, and I know that so many of the marketing people have, they initially would go, oh, digital free or almost free. And then the value of printing or, physical product is just, it's kind of changed so much. As a matter of fact, Joe just sent, he had a big, Joe Polish just sent from Genius Network Mastermind Group the August meeting that we did in Newport Beach, where there was about 220, the flash little USB thing. Just getting that, it's kind of like, I got it all digital, I can get at it. And I go, damn good idea. I felt like I got a big, valuable tool.
Mm-hmm. And it came in a FedEx box.
Yeah, it came in a FedEx box. I know you probably had something to do with that too.
Yeah, we sent all those out, and we do a lot of flash drives, and I love those. I did want to comment on the, what you said about the digital delivery, because I'm a raving fan of digital delivery too. I've got the iPad, iPods, everything, iPhone, and I also buy digital training. I did Eben Pagan, one of my biggest clients a while ago, switched to the doing the digital delivery. I bought one of his products about 4 months ago. I bought Darren Hardy's Insane Productivity. I love the digital format. Even Brendan Bouchard, one of my biggest clients, has his Motivation Manifesto, which we did all the shipped all the books all over the America and the world. I signed up for his digital products. So.
Yeah, no. Well, it's that. I know what you've told me is that combination. But how do you see? So we're talking, I just want not everybody knows Eben, and he is one of the most successful early guys on the online marketing through a bunch
Right.
of niches. Certain Brendan Bouchard, I know at the meeting you and I were both at, Brendan was just, telling us he's got 1 million followers on Facebook. Probably by now he's got 1.5 million. But I mean,
Yeah.
just one of the most successful new people out there. And they're using more than digital. And I want to do this in a broad thing because I don't want it to be online marketing, Joe, because the online marketing alone is just a small part of the industry. I mean,
Right.
the economy. I want everybody, when you're selling widgets, whatever you're doing, you're creating some of these packages, and we all have to do two things well. We have to deliver a great client experience, and we've got to get more people to raise their hand to work with us. Well, this is where these kind of tools come in. But I also want you to pay, really, Joe has done a great job of reinventing himself in a difficult marketplace and by staying close to these top people. But how are guys like Brendan and Eben, how are they using physical products now?
Well, definitely, Eben uses it less and less. Although his last big launch, he called me up and he asked about doing. He called it a backup copy, you know. So I did a 10 DVD case in one of those zipper pouches, and the reason I suggested that to him is I used something I'd learned from him, which is your customer avatar. So
Mm-hmm.
I told him, well, why not give your customer, which is me, because I love his stuff. I said, why don't you give them a little package that they like? So I recommended the one that I like because it's a zipper case. You can you can throw it on the couch, you could throw it on your desk, throw it in your car, and so I suggested that, and that was real popular.
No, that's great. And what about Brendan? I mean, he's doing the big campaign on his manifesto right now as
Yeah,
we're doing the recording.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I keep on going, I say, geez, why don't you deliver the books electronically? And,
Yeah, right.
and he doesn't. He's big on the physical part.
Yeah, he used to have those big giant boxes that we did that had unbelievable amounts of stuff. But his current campaign is all digital. I really think it would be cool if he had like a little button on there that said "Get physical product," just for the few people that would want it. Even if it was 20% of Brendan's clients, it would still be a gigantic number of clients because he's really kicking butt with that product. I'm taking his advanced course online myself right now, and I freaking love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's one of the things. You and I are both lifelong learners, but one of the things I was most impressed with you as an entrepreneur, and maybe because I like doing it too, so that's why I was impressed. But, I think of AESNation.com as a virtual mastermind, and you and I have generated an awful lot of relationship networking by being with the clients, with our
Hmm.
peers in groups. And I mean, I know, in most of the meetings, you're the only guy doing what you do,
Hmm.
certainly at a high level at any meeting I've ever been at. When did you start, doing these kind of joining the mastermind CEO groups and some of these higher end events?
Well, I think it was around 2007. Jeff Walker came out with his very first product launch formula, and we did that physical package for him, but we had no idea what we were making. We were just printing books and making CDs and DVDs, and he invited us to a live event, and he announced to everybody right before a break, Joe Foley and Cindy are here from Dis.com. We didn't even know that was our name. We
Yeah.
had the old stodgy name, corporate Dis.com, Disc Company. And we were mobbed, and that's when I started knowing that I should go to live events. When the crowd finally died down, I went back in and sat down next to some guy, and in the back of the room, it turned out to be Eben Pagan, who was already one of my clients that I didn't know. So he invited me to come to his event.
Yeah.
It was called Altitude, and that's kind of been the chain reaction. The Mastermind group joining Joe's Mastermind group was incredible. I totally recommend anybody check that out. It's been fantastic. The kind of people I've met and the inspiration,
No, it's a
friends.
yeah. I mean, it's one of the things. It's so easy as fellow entrepreneurs to get caught up, only in our own business. And we have a great team. We can be doing amazing things. But when you get out of side of your business and really outside of your industry, I mean, a lot of the meetings you and I are at, it's pretty eclectic. There's a whole bunch of different types of entrepreneurs. I mean, there could be billionaires, and there's people who are just getting started, and everything in between, and from all the different industries, and it really has made a difference. Well, Joe, what are some of the lessons you've learned along the way in this journey?
Well, the biggest lesson is to always focus on the client experience. I knew that when I was a printing salesman, right out of college. I sold business forms, back in the old days, and my prices where I worked were so high. The only way you could get an order was to provide better value. I had to figure out how I could make that business form work better than anything else. And I've taken that kind of knowledge of always adding value, and then I went to Eben's event, the altitude one, and he taught me there that to always focus on your customer. He said, get so the only thing going on in your head is what your customer wants, what's going through their mind, what do they need, how can you help them, and I made that commitment. So now every day, I thank God I have a partner who's all into the operation. So I really do focus 100% on my clients, and I think that's the reason that we're growing, to this day. And we have a tendency to keep customers for life. And I have this one other incredible thing that I want to tell you about. The last 15 years, we have 2,100 new accounts. And the cool thing about every one of those new accounts, they all came from a referral.
Yeah,
that we didn't
huge.
pay for.
Yeah, I mean, I just want everyone, when you're thinking about your business development, and focusing on the client experience, and really, Joe, where the client is, because you're showing up where they are, and by showing up where they are, and not only delivering what you promised, but over delivering. Boy, what a I mean, this should be not rocket scientist type stuff. This is what works, and we know this. But so often we get so busy in our office. I know I got tired of traveling. I stopped doing it about 4 years ago. I got back into this, and it's like, boy, my business has been on steroids. It just took off like crazy, and it's kind of those duh moments. Like, of course, I know you need to do this, but I didn't feel like doing it, type thing. Well, what else? Let's go to the next lesson you've learned.
Okay. My second theme that's super important to me is like always offer flexible solutions. In the old days, you used to say, well, the best price on CDs is 5,000 or 2,500. Now we'll do any quantity. We'll even make stuff on demand. It's not about what's most efficient for our operation. It's what our clients need. So we make it so we have no rules. We try to keep the accounting department in check. We try to do stuff so fast. Sometimes I get an order from a big corporation. I'm already working on it before they can even get a purchase order issued, from a Fortune 500 account, because that's just the way we operate.
Well, I know, Joe, maybe hold up the one piece you were showing me earlier before we turned on the cameras, the white paper and disc you did for me. Do you have that there? The Winning the Allegiance piece?
Okay, sure do.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a great example. We were doing a corporate campaign. I'm going to blow you up here while I'm talking so they can see it.
Okay.
But it's I remember it was, I think, one DVD and, a white paper. And this was a campaign that we did that was great. It's one that I asked Joe to print it up and everything, and we did it very quick. I go, what kind of quantities? And he says, well, what do you need? And really demand. And what happened out of this, and I don't even know if I shared with you, I'm now, we're putting on a conference with a group out of that. I mean, there's a lot of things that came out of it. I don't know if I mentioned to you, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this part is when we first did it, it didn't really work that well. And then, one of the things about physical parts is they stick around. And people, it was a nice looking package and they didn't throw it away. And a couple of key guys, reached out to us, and all of a sudden, like, whoa, so, some big opportunities. So, I love both the flexibility, and one of the things I like is that, you think of, I mean, I can remember doing cassettes. I used to send out in my old business, thousands of cassettes. I love doing that marketing and, trying to figure out and, working with somebody that actually sees, where the business is going is just so valuable. How are you working with, I mean, how would somebody, that is not printing up stuff, not really using that many tools, physical tools in their marketing, how would they know where to start? What would be the right, you're talking about flexible solution. Where do people usually start on this stuff?
Oh, well, it's so easy to get started because all you really need is some type of white paper that you probably have some kind of information you already have available on your website. You could always send that out. Doing the old-fashioned postcards or direct mail pieces are really successful, and the reason I know that is because people are trying them again, and I'm getting repeat orders, and that proves it right there. You don't do something twice unless you're making some money. But I think that the coolest thing is to just take like some video that you have. Everybody seems to have a webinar or even a teleseminar, and that can be made into a CD or a DVD in a couple hours, and we can put it inside a mailer and make those on demand. So it's kind of risk free, and you send that out to people, and if they like it, then you make some more. It's a nice way to get started.
Well, and I want to kind of break that down because in the past, I remember when the first time I printed up some books, I went offshore to China and printed 10,000. Well, there's a big worry that you're going to get stuck with 10,000. Your mom only wants so many copies of these things.
Yeah, right.
But what I love about, with today's technology, what we can do is we can, really do it on demand. I mean, the tools are there for almost anything on demand anymore. And so you can test marketing campaigns and really, go ahead and, have a major impact. And if it works well, you keep doing it. If it doesn't work well, you pivot and try something else.
Right. Well, China's still a great place to go if you're going to buy a huge quantity of books, and you can wait patiently, and you don't mind sending the wire transfer, in advance and stuff, because we buy a lot of stuff from there. But to your point about doing the quick turn, I have this 4-color book that I did for the Genius Network, and I really like that because each cover has its own that has my picture on it. But so everybody that got their own picture on there. And this was done on the digital equipment, and that can be done in 24 hours. Well, it's not like a 4-week job.
Well, what I really like about that, because I was blown away with that. I don't know if I want to talk to you about it for my group, but I got home. I never noticed it. It was so active at the meeting. They didn't make a big deal of it. They passed it all out and so on. And then I'm looking and I'm going, I'm on the cover, in the corner, and it's oh wow, I mean, it's just amazing the one-off that you can do that at a reasonable price to make people feel special. Because I mean, the first thing you go, geez, they're featuring me on the cover.
I know. A couple people did honestly think that. I can't believe they made my picture bigger than everybody else.
Joe is just such a great job. Joe Polish, working with you, Joe. Let's go. What's the next lesson?
Well, I also thought I was looking back and I thought of what I want to suggest. It's definitely expand your services to meet your clients' ever-changing needs. I use my because I'm a big Blackhawks fan. I use that analogy to always skate where the puck is going, because that has so much meaning for me. So I'm trying to anticipate what my clients are going to need next year and the year beyond. That's why I have an initiative right now to become a 3D fulfillment service where I'll do the actual 3D printing. People will send over their drawing and I'll make it and send it out to the 10 big buyers of the major corporations. I'm also working on crowdfunding rewards, because crowdfunding is just huge already and it's going to be massive. But whenever people contribute to a campaign, they're going to want to get some kind of tchotchke or some kind of physical item, and I'm going to be ready for that. So that, I think, is a huge lesson to always look forward. Don't get caught up in this month's results and how awesome you're doing, because like we learned at our company over the last 30 years, is we always had to be ready. There was always some gloom. There's something in the horizon that could eliminate. How about when Macintosh or Apple decided not to put a CD drive in their computer? I was like, oh my God, you know. But we're still making more CDs than ever before. So, but
Yeah,
and I love the digital.
well, and it's one of the things that I think this is for all of us is that ability to pivot. And one of the challenges of pivoting is you got to know where to pivot. And if you're
Right.
not looking out, being a little visionary or having someone help you do that, it just makes a huge difference. And Joe, you've done a great job pivoting on all the stuff.
Right.
I'm going back memory, lane with all the different things that have gone. It's sometimes you forget. I mean, I'm in Silicon Valley. As a matter of fact, I just got my iPhone 6 and I just programmed it a little while this morning.
Yeah.
And it's just, you take so much of it for granted anymore. It's like carrying it around, but it leaves so many opportunities for all of us. Let's go to the next segment.
Okay.
And that's the book of the day. Joe, what would you recommend? What are you thinking your fellow entrepreneurs should be reading?
Well, it's a little tough because I have probably 25 New York Times best-selling books customers inside my warehouse, but I do have a favorite right now.
I know I've got some books there. Everybody's got some books there,
I know.
and it's so you got to be really sensitive. But I won't let anybody know, Joe.
No, I'm just going with the truth. I have the Brendan Bouchard's new book, The Motivation Manifesto. Um,
I'm
I
gonna
love
put
that.
it up
I
on
love it.
screen here for a second too.
Where did it go?
Yeah, and
Oh, here we go. There we go.
yeah,
It,
it's a great book, and Brendan is an unbelievable, information source as well as a marketing machine. Would be I don't think does it justice.
yeah, and because I'm into every kind of personal development, self-help. I've done them all. I love that book, and I signed up for his online digital delivery advanced course. I love that course too. So I believe that that's going to make a change in my life in 2015. I also am sneaking in a second book, but I won't go third or fourth.
Okay, go to the second. Here, what do we got?
Peter Diamandis had that book Abundance, and that changed my life.
Yeah, let me put it up on screen here. It is a phenomenal book. Peter's been a great.
Found my copy.
Yeah, it's abundance. The future is better than you think, and Peter does a great job of presenting that the future is going to be better than you think, and it's I think it's 6 major areas that he focuses on, but it's just it's something it should be almost required reading of every entrepreneur and every student.
It makes people happy when they start thinking about it makes you happy and excited about what's going to come to next year and the year beyond. instead of fretting about today and the news and everything is going bad, you think about how far things have come, and it makes you excited. So, I signed up to be in his event for the next 25 years. That's
Yeah,
how
no,
fired.
you and I are both in that. And I want to
Yeah.
talk about that just for a second. It's Abundance
Okay.
360. And, and this is a whole bunch of, talented individuals putting it together. It's kind of Dan Sullivan teamed up a little bit with Peter to help him, Peter Diamandis, to get it really structured right. And part of the deal was Dan, who just turned 70, would only help Peter if he committed to doing this 25 years in a row.
Yeah.
And, to have a 70-year-old individual, if you know Dan, you're not that surprised. But if you don't know Dan, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And, Joe and I think there's close to 200 people in, that mastermind group, Abundance 360. And it's a phenomenal, just, 2 days in January, we get updated on where the puck's going.
Yeah. There's 300 people now.
Oh, 300. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're more of an insider than I am here.
Well, we have something so cool that we're going to do for this year, and it involves kind of looking to the future. We are going to do the old-fashioned, binder that's going to be filled with all kinds of cool stuff. But on top of that, to showcase technology, we have a Live Scribe pen that's 2 gigabyte. It records hours and hours of audio. But the cool thing is, you write in your Moleskine notebook, and it records the whatever you're learning. But then the pen sends it electronically to your computer, so you have all your notes already stored automatically on your computer. And then say you want to go back and you take a look at the notebook, and you put your pen down on like page 7, because that's where you were at. It'll start playing the audio from the exact moment to where you put your pen. Like how could it know all that?
That's one, but the 2 days is kind of shock and amazement, the whole thing, because it's so far. As much as we all think that things are moving ahead, they're moving more. But talking about moving ahead, let's go to the next segment.
Okay.
Which is the application of the day. And Joe, what are you using on your smartphone that you think fellow entrepreneurs should know?
Well, we got a new phone system just a couple of months ago, which I liked, and everything was cool. But then last week, I found a application. Well, actually, my IT guy said, "Joe, you should use this." So I tried it. It's called the Via. I forget what it's called.
Now let me pull it up on the screen here.
Yeah.
I have their corporate, but you have
1X Mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so amazing, John. Like to have if I had this tool 3 years ago, I can imagine how much more I could get accomplished. But you go to this screen and you can see your last 30 calls or your whole history of calls. You can call people back. You can listen to messages. It's all right at your fingertips without doing any dialing, any hunting and searching around. It's amazing. And of course it's synced to my iPad at home. It's on my iPhone when I'm in the car. Works right on my desktop.
Yeah, no, the tools, this is why we do this, is so everyone can look. I mean, I'm using Intermedia that does something like that too. And it's just, use a new technology. It's actually, in most cases, cheaper, and it's more efficient, and it makes us more productive.
I have one more. It's called the SonicWall Mobile Connect. It's a great app. We have the SonicWall firewall, for our network. So this app, I downloaded it about a month ago, and now with one press of one button, I can get inside our network, very secure, and I can go to accounting, I can go to production, I can see a dashboard of everything going on, and it's 24 hours a day. Before it was, I got to go down to the desktop, and I have to fire it up, do a bunch of complicated connections to weave my way through security, and now it's a phone app. It's amazing.
No, this is, I mean, it's a great time to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next segment, which is resources.
Okay.
And what I want to do is I'm going to pull up, Joe, your website. And so I'm at dis.com.
Okay.
I see a smiling face with a video there, but tell us what's there for.
Well, that video is kind of like a 3-minute tour of my operation. And, I always think when you go to a website and you have so many things, and we do have, all kinds of products and services available, but I just put that video up there so you could real quickly take a 3-minute tour, and you just go through every room and you see everything going on. And I think it tells you more in 3 minutes than, some big elaborate website.
No, it's a great. I remember I just enjoyed watching, the whole, seeing the facilities, because you wonder,
Yeah.
today's world, all of us are in offices. We don't really get to see things being made, and you are one of the few guys that are making some amazing resources. Let me do what I've learned today, and I want to play back for our listeners and our viewers, so that all of us as entrepreneurs can go ahead and make a difference. Key takeaways that I'm walking away, I'm going to come back to, and there were 3 big ones that Joe talked about. I mean, focusing on the client experience. This is one that, as you go through a lot of the podcasts, we're going to talk about, because it's so critical that you focus on it. What I think what Joe does is not only focus on it, but he shows up in it, and he's out there with his clients. I want you to ask yourself, what are you doing on the client experience? I mean, are you showing up? Are you there to let things happen? I mean, he gave an example of sitting in the back of the room and meeting one of his largest clients and expanding that relationship. And it's just, back of the room, oftentimes being at a client event, being at the boardroom, being at the, the table, whatever it is, make sure that you're showing up there so you can help on focusing on that. Second thing is, things happen, and we know this as entrepreneurs, and what we need to do is have flexible solutions. And the flexible solutions are a couple parts. One is, it's very easy that, to build, and this is the only thing you can get. Well, in today's world, that doesn't work that well. I mean, buyers have choices. So they want to know from you that you can work with them to come up with a solution, and then whatever quantity they need, you can provide. So, really think through your offer. You can't do one-off everything, but you can provide, that custom experience, that unique experience, but have kind of the assembly line, so you've already thought it through to deliver. And the third is to expand your services, 'cause recognizing the ever-changing needs. I mean, all of us have been in business, and I think back to my first, financial services and working with mini computers, and we had all these stacked 5 megabyte disk drives, and they were about this big, and it's just to compare it to, you grab a smartphone today, and it's a million times more than what that was. And so your client's going to have different needs. So really make sure you're connected. Joe and I love networks. Obviously AES Nation is one where you there, but I want you to show up in mastermind groups, CEO groups, be outside your business, have your team members outside your business, so you can really anticipate those ever-changing needs, so you can skate to where the puck is going, like Wayne Gretzky. Okay, with that, Joe, I want to thank you for your great insights and being a great business partner, and want to challenge everyone out there. You got to go execute on this stuff. So that means you've got to go and take good care of your clients and your future clients. They're counting on you. And if you want to check out any of the stuff to make sure you're executing well, go to aesnation.com. We've got all the show notes, all the links that Joe talked about. There's a couple of other bonuses Joe's going to have there at dis.com/AES that we'll be making available. Joe will. And A lot of people are counting on you. Don't let them down. Wish you the best of success.
Exceptional, remarkable breakthroughs. AESNation.com.